If you're a multi-passionate entrepreneur and you have asked yourself, what am I supposed to share online? You are in the right place. Now, here's the thing as a multi-passionate entrepreneur, therapist, or coach, it is so easy to have so many things that you're passionate about that you're not quite sure what you want to share online. And so you're just throwing all of these different things out there. But the challenge is that you're missing one anchor to really help fit all of who you are into one thing and who you want to serve. So that is often the challenge that we come across when we love so many things. Now, that is not a problem. It's just that we need to figure out how to anchor it all together. And that is what we're going to do today so that you can be the best online version of yourself. Now, instead of editing yourself just to seem consistent, which oftentimes just leads us to feeling exhausted, we are going to lean into what can make life easier when you connect to your ideal clients by finding who you are authentically and creating your anchor. Now, if you don't know who I am already, I'm Rachael Britton. I'm a clinical psychologist and I'm a mindset, clarity, and strategy coach. And what I do is I help entrepreneurs, I help therapists, and I help coaches uncover what's holding them back and finally create that structure, that mindset, and that strategy to help lead them to true freedom and financial freedom. So, what I have learned is that success, it doesn't just come from forcing things into our day or becoming someone that we're not. It actually comes from aligning our decisions, our offers, and our boundaries with who we are becoming and who we want to be. And that is exactly what the series is going to help you with. I myself started showing up online and feeling very fragmented. So I know exactly what that feels like to love so many different things, but not be sure how I want to show up for those that I wanted to help. And what I would do is I would just start posting something each day. So I would share something deep and reflective one day. Maybe I would share a strategy tip, or maybe I would try to figure out something trendy. And I would just hope that people would see me. And over time, I really started to wonder, do people actually know what I offer? Do they know who I am? I mean, I was sharing aspects of myself, but did they really know how I could help them, how I could support them? And the truth was that I was questioning this because I didn't really know myself which version belonged online because there were so many aspects to me. And this this representation that I was providing, it was hard for people to really understand what I was truly doing or how I could help them. And the reason for that is because I wasn't focused as much on how I could serve them. I was focused more on me and who I was and what I was trying to do. And I kept trying to find this label that would sum me up, something that would help people really know who I was. I tried looking at coach, being a strategist, all of these different things, but none of them really connected with me yet. And it felt like I was cutting off parts of myself just to make sense to other people. I don't know if you've ever felt that way, but it's a very frustrating feeling. And what really shifted for me was when I realized I needed an anchor. And that anchor, which we'll be talking about today, was core identity anchor. And this anchor is really the through line that connects all of my roles and my passions together. It's the anchor of who I am. Really, in essence, I needed to focus less on me and I needed to focus on more about what I do and the energy behind why I do it. Because the energy behind why I was helping people and how I love to serve was really my core anchor. Everything that I did was connected to that anchor. So for me, my anchor was clarity. Whether I was coaching, whether I was creating content, whether I was parenting, whether I was hanging out with my friends, I'm always there's a part of me that really loves to help others feel calm, to find direction in the middle of their chaos. because that's my anchor. I love helping people find clarity no matter what I'm doing. And when you find your anchor, you will start to find that everything kind of makes sense of how you help other people. And this will help you figure out your brand. This will help you figure out your content. This will even help you figure out those decisions that allow you to come from this core truth to really be your authentic self. Now, to really understand this, I want you just to imagine this for a moment. Just take a moment and instead of starting with your job title or your roles, I want you to ask yourself one simple question. When people leave a conversation with me, what do they feel more of? So here's the question again. When people leave a conversation with me, what do they feel more of? For me, the feeling I want people to have when they leave a conversation with me is feeling calm, feeling clear, feeling confident, feeling safe, feeling like they can expand a little bit more. And that's a feeling. That's not the role that I have. And so that is my anchor. That feeling that someone else receives is my anchor. And this works no matter what you do. So a business strategist, they might realize that their anchor is certainty. A health coach, they might discover that theirs is hope. Now, once you have your word or your idea of that feeling, I want you just to picture what that anchor looks like. So just take a moment and ask yourself that question again. When people leave a conversation with me, what do they feel more of? And I want you just to notice that as an anchor. Just notice it, like in your chest, in your stomach, wherever feels really anchored for you. And just imagine how every role in your life branches from that anchor. Your business, your creativity, your relationships, your rest, all of it comes from that place of clarity or safety or hope, whatever that anchor is. And when you see it in this way, something kind of shifts within. Because when we don't feel centered, it's really hard to understand our roles. And it's hard for other people to trust us within what we're trying to share with them if we don't feel centered in ourselves. So having that purpose and knowing what your purpose is, it allows you to connect with others in a new way. Now, as you imagine that word or that feeling, that anchor, I want you to ask yourself something else. Which part of you have you been leaving out online? So let's go back to being online. What part are you leaving out? Is it the creative part? Is it a spiritual part? Is it a strategic part? What if that missing piece is the exact energy that your audience needs from you most? Because again, a lot of times we are trying to create content that is similar to other people, and we're trying to make something that isn't authentically us. And so if we go back to that anchor, think about what are you missing? What are you leaving out that maybe would be helpful for other people to really show them who you are? This is where understanding our anchor allows us to open up and show up in our most authentic state, which we are going to uncover more today. Now, to help uncover your own anchor, I did create a free identity anchor worksheet. So make sure you grab that below. And it's a simple guided process that will take about 10 minutes, give or take. It could be longer if you want to spend more time or really dive into it. And it really just focuses on helping you identify the one emotional thread that connects everything you do without trying to label or limit yourself. And once you know your anchor, you're going to find that you're not performing as much. Instead, you're just showing up from this very whole self. And as you do that, it's going to be so much easier to share things online because it's just going to come back to that anchor. And next week, we are going to be talking about the too much myth and how embracing every version of yourself is actually what creates focus. Because again, once we have that anchor and understand who we are able to really dial in on what we want to share with other people. So if this spoke to you, make sure you download that worksheet, subscribe to this channel, and start exploring who you already are beneath all of those different labels that you have. And I will see you next week for when we talk about how that too much myth can get in our way. See you next week.